Well guys, I knew something had to be in the works for this week as we're getting towards the end of October. I really expected something as there's 2 big games next month, and it seems like the first thing we are getting is a Kirby Air Riders Direct. The second one, which will be coming this Thursday at 6 a.m. Pacific. Now, what's interesting is the first one we got was 45 minutes long. This one is 60 minutes long. Sakurai is dropping an hour-long presentation for this game. But the question is, what in the world does Sakurai need an hour-long presentation to talk about Kirby Air Riders of all games? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's not much to talk about. It's a game where you race on machines and yeah, you pick a character, you go. What does Sakurai need to go into detail with? And it's very interesting because he's already went into some pretty big details with major modes of the game. I mean, let's just talk about what he talked about last time. He spent the beginning of the Direct talking about the old game on GameCube and kind of where that came from and everything. And of course, he spent a huge amount of time just talking about the controls, and which is funny considering the fact there's like literally only 2 buttons once again. One major button and then the control stick. He then moved on to tell us about the specials and how each character will have their own special, which then would lead us into the tracks, into the characters, and also into the machines that we'll be able to ride. I'm sure there'll be talk on just more of this stuff, more characters, more machines that he hasn't shown us yet, and of course more tracks. Now I can see them going into a lot more characters because yeah, it's Kirby. There's so many different characters they can go with. I made a whole video about this. I mean, they've already showed Suzy from Planet Robobot and Maglor from Kirby's Return to Dreamland, not to mention that he's also throwing in regular enemies. It seems to be classic enemies as well. So I actually made a video about all the other enemies that he could add and other playable characters from mainline characters like some of Kirby's animal buddies, Madeline, Taranza, members of the Squeak Squad, Ribbon from 64, or maybe they could even do some of the characters from Star Allies, like Highness and the Sage Sisters. There's a bunch of characters they can go with, so I'd imagine a good chunk of this would just be more characters, you know, their special abilities, and maybe how they work with some of the items in the game. Like, I'd be kind of shocked if we didn't even see Elfilin from Kirby and the Forgotten Land, so yeah, just expect lots of different Kirby series reps to pop up here. And with the tracks, Sakurai's been showing off a lot of them. I think even some new ones on the Nintendo Today app. He's been sharing pretty much daily pictures of this game, so yeah, I don't know how much longer that they spend on the actual tracks. I feel like, you know, him just showing us some quick overviews of the tracks and stuff is enough, but knowing Sakurai, he's going to go into grand detail and make us watch him just race on these tracks or something, which is fine, but yeah, it's just totally Sakurai thing to do. Now, in the first Direct, he spent about, no joke, 21 minutes just talking about City Trial this time around with the new map of Skya. So yeah, he went pretty far into detail talking about every little thing that could happen, all the events, how the game actually works. He even had us watch him play like a 5-minute game himself, and showed us the different, you know, arena mini games at the end of the City Trial. So he's went into pretty daggone grand detail with City Trial. I highly doubt he talks about this again unless there's like a second map or something secret about this, because I don't know what else he would have to say about it. But that's really about it. He ended the show talking about the music and how some of the music would be added to the Nintendo Today app and just a couple last details, and that was pretty much about it. So you might be questioning, what else in the world could he talk about? Well, I feel like he's definitely hiding something. There's definitely some type of extra mode or something that he's not talking about. Now, he ended the show with one last cutscene, and it showed some type of weird dark matter King DDD hybrid clone appearing on a motorbike as he's racing through a desert, and we have no clue who this character is. Is it tied to some sort of story mode or something? Because it was just so random. Now, outside of regular races and City Trial, there's really nothing else that we know about this game. We don't know if the challenge wall returns, which I would assume so. We also don't know if there's any other side modes, like Top Ride, for instance. I don't think Top Ride will be making a return because I feel like Sakurai would have brought it up already. I feel like there's only going to be around one more big mode, maybe 2, but I feel like this big mode is actually going to be something close to a story mode, but not quite, and I don't know how that would even work, but it would only make sense for Sakurai to host another, this time hour-long Nintendo Direct for this game, because what else would he talk about for an hour? Now, for Smash Ultimate, Sakurai teased World of Light, the game's main story mode, at the very end of his main Direct for the game, and then the overview trailer went into full detail about it, and I think there was even another Direct where he just spent almost 90% of the show talking about spirits and actually how the mode would work, and I think that's exactly what we're going to get here. here. I'd be shocked if we didn't get at least 30 minutes dedicated to whatever this new mode is. I wouldn't get your hopes really hyped for cutscenes, boss battles, and some type of crazy story mode for a racing game. So yeah, unfortunately, I don't think that's going to happen just because I'm keeping my expectations low. But I do think it is some additional big mode. Maybe something along the lines of World of Light where, you know, there's like a board that you can move across, races that you'll have against other players with maybe some occasional boss battles, but it'll be something that's not as ambitious as a full-on Subspace Emissary, but something probably akin to World of Light. You might be asking yourself, how in the world is a story mode going to work in a racing game? Well, Diddy Kong Racing did it, and I mean, you could have little missions and stuff like Mario Kart DS and even Mario Kart World's open world has, so maybe there is something along the lines like that. Since the tracks clearly aren't focused on the open world aspect, I actually wouldn't mind maybe a small little open world map that we can drive around and do missions in and, you know, take challenges. And that way the tracks aren't tied to it, where it won't have a Mario Kart World issue where there's intermissions and all this stuff. Instead, we can just jump into the story mode and play on that open world map. I can imagine something like that being the case, and they could even work boss battles in this game. I mean, there was technically a boss battle against King DDD in the original game, so something like that could definitely happen again. Who knows? I also do want to say that Sakurai showed this lessons scene, and everybody's been talking about it, where this page clearly is missing something in the lessons category. We have city trial, we have copy abilities, there's advanced tech, the basic tech, and then of course there's something that's just missing right here. And a lot of people do believe it's a major brand new mode, and obviously Sakurai isn't showing us. Remember when he had World of Light shown on the screen and he kind of blurred it out, and people already like dug into the image and found out that it said spirits before it even was like announced. So I think Sakurai just wanted to take it out completely and not go through that same thing again. But yeah, what I'm personally hoping for is one major mode and also tons of side things like the challenge walls returning, something for us to do in single player and for us to unlock things and reasons to go back and replay the game tons of times in order to, you know, unlock everything that the game has. And honestly, I'm really hoping that this is kind of a Donkey Kong Bonanza situation here. And if you don't know what I mean, a lot of people were just kind of iffy on that first trailer for Bonanza. It was just like, okay, and this looks like a cool little 3D platformer. You know, it was nothing special. And that's kind of how I feel right now about Kirby Air Riders. As someone who actually grew up with the original game, I just feel like, hey, this is almost like a remake of the original game. It's just more Kirby Air Ride. So I'm like, okay on the game. You know, I'm really looking for something to completely, you know, engulf me in its excitement. Like, I'm hoping this Direct actually does that, because that's how Donkey Kong Bonanza's Direct actually did it for the game, where everybody was just like immediately locked in and ready for that game after that Direct. So hopefully this is the big eye-opener for a lot of people, and myself included. But what do you want to see in this Nintendo Direct? And are you already completely sold on this game? Are you on the fence, or are you just kind of like there, like it is what it is? Let me know down below. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and I hope you all have a blessed day. See you guys.